was going to say like 20 something.
It's 1 to 2,000 per day. That's like a very high number, alarmingly high number. Why don't we talk about, and you can Google it, how many children have been reported lost or kidnapped in the past year? I'll tell you, over 500,000 in the past year. 500,000 kids. There can't be that many negligent parents. Something is happening. I would not let my kids out. Not in this society.
Brain death is a lie. So people don't even realize it's a lie anymore. But it's been a lie from the beginning, continues to be a lie. They invented brain death mainly to get organs, but then also so they don't waste money on treating people who aren't ever going to get a job, who are just going to live and not die. And so to see what brain death is, it's primarily a way to get organs. You cannot get any organs from a cadaver. Every organ that's transplanted is a healthy organ, and you can only get healthy organs from living persons. You cannot get any organs for transplant from a cadaver. The things I'm telling you is that you are not allowed to hear, because if you hear it, you will be upset, as all three of you are upset. And rightly so, you should be upset. Whose organs do they want? Certainly from all children, but especially the people who are 16 to 30. And their life is in jeopardy. If they're unconscious and on a ventilator, they're going to get their organs. Everybody who's called brain dead has a beating heart, circulation, and respiration. If they didn't have that, you wouldn't have to call them brain dead. You could call them dead.
Hello, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Makakudash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS who teach and rule well. Salutations to you brothers in the highways and byways. Salutations also goes out to you brothers and a few sisters that tune in to listen and learn. The rest of the hopeful elect. To you all I say Shalom. I am the brother Malak from the Diligent Soldier Camp here in Boston, Mass. As always, I pray this lesson be edifying to the elect. Okay, the name of this one is Yet Another Reason We Need Salvation from Babylon and the Rest of the Planet. Yet another reason we need salvation from Babylon and the rest of the planet, right? And the reason I say the rest of the planet is because, Jake is scattered all over the world, man. All over this globe, okay? We are found according to, the curses in Deuteronomy 28, where we will be scattered. I think it's Deuteronomy 28:64, that we will be scattered to the four corners. All right. Also, the fact that Israel is like the sand of the sea, so we're everywhere. For the most part, the bulk we believe is here in what's known as the United States, right? Babylon. Okay. But truly, indeed, we're all over the place. There's no nation that you go to and Jakes are not there, right? I mean, you wouldn't be able to just pick them out, right? They wouldn't be able to stand out too much. But we know that it's the Spirit that reveals that we are the children of Israel, okay? But, you just saw a couple clips on, what I would call, a huge threat, an ongoing threat, constantly here in Babylon, man, and we call this place Babylon, because it truly is confusion, nothing but confusion here in the United States. We believe that it's also the valley with the dry bones that the scriptures speak of. We also believe that this is the same place, right? Because this is where we woke up you know, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, starting with so-called blacks, you know, tribe of Judah, you know, and Benjamin, Levi, right? Them waking up first, you know, and through the process of time spreading this this gospel to the rest of the tribes, you know, from the 60s, you know, you fast forward to now, 2025, you know, and so-called Hispanics, you know, so-called Latinos, which is, you know, make up the Northern Kingdom, are truly now hip, you know, for lack of another word, are awoken to this truth. Now, many of them don't receive it. Many of them don't accept it, and that's okay. The scripture says that basically this wasn't for everybody. Okay, but to stick to the point, you know, let's just look up some facts, right? With the first clip about the children that are the amount of children and just humans, you know, whether they're young or old, that go missing in this country, right? You know, I wrote in how many people go missing in the United States, right? And I got an AI overview, and then I started also opening up more suggestion boxes, you know, where it says, like, you know, people also ask this question or look these things up. So I was just opening things that were like relevant, right? And I'll skim through it real quick. It says roughly 2,300 Americans are reported missing every day in the United States. Okay. On average, around 2,300 people are reported missing daily in the United States. It says on average of 2,100 children reported missing each day. Okay, or are reported missing each day. Let me see, what's the next one? What are the odds of finding a missing person? It says here, most missing persons are found within a week or a month. Okay, now, let me see. Roughly 6,000 people reported missing annually are never found. Okay, and this is the reason I was reading these things, because we know that Esau definitely plays with these numbers, man. You know, they pick and choose exactly what the narrative is. I wanted to look up, okay, here. How many missing children are never found in the U.S.? It says, according to our research and experience, out of the 500,000, right, children, just children alone, 500,000 children that go missing every year in the United States, nearly all of them are found. That's 97.8%. You know, this is dated January 28, 2021. It's not that it's hard to believe. It's fucking bullshit that many children go missing and only, you know, a little over 1% are actually not found after some time. That's total BS, man. You know, like I said, Esau, man, you can't trust this devil for shit, man. You know, he never puts the truth out there, you know, to prove anyone wrong, you know. And we know that these devils operate like that, man, when it comes to children, you know. Most government officials, you know, are accused of being PDF files. You know, Hillary was also and her husband Bill have been accused many times of these things, you know. And she's known to have deleted, not only her, but her staff or people that work for her, over something like 30,000 emails and stuff. There's proof of things that are going on that she didn't want to get out there, man, and be investigated. But and there's even supposedly a snuff film, what they call a snuff film in the dark web, where she's seen abusing a child, her and her assistant, I forget her name. So this is something that's very relevant and going on. Okay, so as far as these numbers go, that 500,000 go missing and 97.8% are found. That's BS. When we know that children are sold off, dozens of times a day and even a week between low-level PDF files, man. How much more these elites that have the means to keep them around for as long as they want, have the means to transport them throughout the United States and even outside of the country. Okay, not to mention the endless tunnels that are being reported, that are reported to be under the United States. Not too long ago there was information coming out that that the elites have dug out these holes in the ground to in case of a near what is it called, near extinction level event. I hope I'm saying that right. So it's bullshit, man. It's BS. And you gotta, as they say, is it chew to me and spit the bones out, man. You gotta digest this information and know how to pick out what's basically lies, man, blatant lies. And this country has been accused, or the government has been accused of facilitating, I think is the word, I hope I said that right, not only child sex trafficking, but humans as far as adults go, man. Okay. Another fun facts over here. Let me see where I had it at. Says the age group. What age group gets kidnapped the most? Here it says teenagers between 12 and 17. I believe that. They definitely go younger, but I guess the bulk, the majority of those that go missing are between the ages of 12 and 17. It says here, what age are most missing persons? It says 21 and over. The video of that doctor, because I know I made a lesson on him a few weeks ago, but I just had to, I had to put that up there just for, just because it's relevant to everything we're speaking, I'm speaking on. He goes on to say to tell these people that were in front of him, he said he called out 3 individuals or mentioned 3 individuals. But he mentions how, children and young adults, so children between the ages of 12, 13, and, I would say, I think he said the age of 15 and like 25 or 27 are the ones that are most in danger, because that's who these people that are into organ harvesting and whatnot go after. Those are the age groups that they go after. Now, ironically enough, I put here what race has the most missing persons, and lo and behold, it says that so-called blacks. Okay, it says in the United States, so-called black people are disproportionately represented among missing persons, while black individuals constitute approximately 13% of the U.S. population, which is bullshit, but whatever. They make up about 35% of missing person cases. It says here, white individuals who represent around 75% of the population. 75% of the population. These niggas, you see, this is why you can't believe this devil, man. You know, you can't trust this devil ever, okay? He's basically calling himself the majority without ever calling himself the majority. He doesn't have to call himself the majority. All he has to do is call a particular people of the minority, okay? And this is why I said you really can't believe what this man is saying. You know, I do believe that so-called blacks and Latinos are the ones that in this type of danger are targeted the most for child or just, you know, human abduction, adult or children abduction. You know what I mean? Over here it says, and I think it's the last fact that I opened, the last little thing that I opened. It says, what is an Ebony Alert? It says an Ebony Alert is a statewide notification system in California designed to help law enforcement and to help law enforcement find missing black youth and young adults, particularly those between the ages of 12 and 25. Okay? I mean, Cali's a huge city. It's something like 3 or 4 cities or something like that. I could be wrong. I think it's more. Nevertheless, though, Jake making the bulk of the population, in the West and East Coast, it's no coincidence that the ages of 12 and 25 are the primary targets, man. Let me see. It's similar to the Amber Alert, specifically addresses the disproportionate number of missing black children and young people who are often overlooked in media coverage. The alert can be activated when a black person in that age range is missing under suspicious or unexplained circumstances, or if there is a belief that they're at risk. Hey, man, you better bet your bottom dollar too that so-called Latinos are put under that label too of Ebony. You know what I mean? Because they also go missing, and these devils ain't gonna come out with a brown alert. You know what I'm saying? To them, it's bad enough they already got a so-called black alert. You know what I mean? And they're not gonna fucking put more manpower in looking up the very people that they hate. They don't give a shit. They never have. You know what I'm saying? And that's just where we are, man. And in the valley of death, man. That's where we find ourselves, man. This is the book of Psalms 23:4. It says, "Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." All right. The point I wanted to bring out here is the valley of the shadow of death, man, which is what you know as America, Babylon, man, the biggest city of the planet, man. Okay, it's just a huge melting pot of people here in Babylon, especially in the East and West Coast. And this is where our people go missing the most, man. Okay, here in this fucked up country, and like I mentioned, they lie about the numbers. That's just not so, because it's big money, man. It's $1 billion, if not $1 trillion industry, man, because it goes from sex exploitation to organ harvesting to getting Jake for their melanin, which is worth far more than gold right now. I forget the exact number, but it's like 2 or 3 times more, or 10 times. It's some crazy number, man. So how can something that's so sought after supposedly have like a 97.8? And I'm not saying that all those people that are found are only so-called blacks, or so-called blacks and so-called Latinos. I'm not saying that at all, but the majority of people that go missing are Jakes, okay? The majority of people that go missing, never to be found, are Jakes, because the majority of people that go missing and are never found are targeted by the people that are set up to find them, you know what I mean, and help these people. And I'm not saying all of them, of course I'm not, but whoever's in the know, man, whoever's into that, and we know that Esau's into that, man. Okay, this is the book of Revelations, chapter 18. I'll start at 11. It says, "And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore." Right? This is, after Babylon is basically destroyed, right? Well, that's why they're weeping and mourning. But it goes on to say, "The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointment and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men." Right? Because this is another way that Babylon makes money, man. Okay, big money, man. Just as much as the taxing scam, man, that they have on Babylon, man. Okay, worse than that, man. And they make way more money than that. Okay, because that type of industry, just with one person, you're able to make, how do I put it, man? Like, you're able to bank on just like one person that they're exploiting or trafficking multiple times a day. You know what I mean? For as much as that person can handle throughout, their natural life, man. Okay? And this is the reason I entitled this, yet another reason we need salvation from Babylon and the rest of the planet, man. Because, hey, man, this place is set up against us, man. Entirely. Babylon is, from the air to the water to the food, the people, right? First and foremost, the other nations, and even worse, our people that are weaponized against each other. Now we know that we deserve these things. We were put in this situation because we went off, right? We inherited the curses, for going off, for going against our power, for seeking after other gods, and the Father punished us, man. Rightfully so, man, because you chastise your child, man, if they're going off, if they're not listening, because you truly love them, and you hope that with chastising them, punishing them, they will learn their lesson and walk accordingly. And that's exactly the plan of the Father, man. Right? But we know, because of predestination, because of Proverbs 1:18, man's going being of the Lord, that all these things are happening and orchestrated and green lighted by the Lord himself, man. Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, man. Okay? And so it's like, this is why we should be praying for lesser days. This is why the Lord himself, as the scriptures say, is speeding up the time, making the days shorter, man, because there won't be no life left, man, if it was up to Esau. And that's including his own people, right? The book of Sirach tells you, he who is evil to himself, to who shall he do good to, man? And the answer to that is to nobody, man. This man don't give a shit about his people, and he hates you Jakes the most. You know, he hates you more than he hates himself, because he truly does hate himself, man. You know, it's the devil we talking about, man. The devil that the Bible speaks of, man. Satan's human counterpart, man. Okay, the most foul beast that there is in this planet, man. Which, you know, blows my mind, man, when I think about the Jakes that want to save these devils, man. The whole time these devils is plotting against you, orchestrating this dystopian future where they have total control over you, absolute control. Because after you have all the money and all the resources and all the power in the world, the only thing to seek after that, or to lust after, is absolute power, which is controlling how people eat, what people buy, what people breathe in. You know, it's just total madness and unrighteous, man, which is why the scriptures clearly tell you that this kingdom is going to be translated from one people to another, because it's unrighteous, man. You know, the laws, the decrees, they're totally unrighteous. They don't benefit nobody but the higher ups, that are the main reason why the earth mourns, why the earth is being destroyed, why the people are mourning and in an uproar. You know, why us Jakes are worn out, man. You know, completely worn out, man. Let's close off with these last two scriptures, right? This is the book of 2 Peter, chapter 3, verse 13. It says, nevertheless, we, the hopeful elect, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. This is what we're looking forward to, man. This is the spirit that we should be in, you know, of detaching completely from this place, because it's nothing but death and mourning and suffering, right? Sorrows, man. That's all Babylon has to offer, you know. I mean, look at the issues that, you know, the small hatters are having with Palestine, man, you know, and how the rest of the world is just standing by, just looking at it, and then whoever dares say anything is outed, right, or deported, or just something crazy happens to them, you know. This is the book of Isaiah 11. I'll start at 8, you know, and end it off with this. It says, and the sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den. Right? So this is talking about small, very young and small children, or small, or just very young children, right? Maybe not even infants, but just when they start crawling, you know, because when they're infants, they don't really move. Now, you know, who's to say how infants are going to be carrying themselves when in the kingdom, man, when they're born out of, you know, pure righteousness, man, you know, and with the laws written in their inward parts from a baby, man, from a fetus, from however the Lord sees it fit. Okay, this is painting that time, right? It says, they shall not hurt nor destroy in my holy mountain, right? And his holy mountain is his people, Israel. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Yahweh, as the waters covers the sea. Right. So, you know, scriptures speak about a time where there's not going to be no more death, man. I mean, no more tears, right? Or war, right? And how the Lord is going to wipe off those tears from our faces. This is the time that's also speaking. It's also speaking of here in Isaiah 11, man, because it's going to be in a point where it's, you know, we're in the kingdom and nothing threatens us, Nothing at all, man. You know, we're not gonna be going off, so we don't have to look forward to any type of penalties because of breaking the law, right? These devils are not gonna be ruling; they're gonna be enslaved, right? We're gonna be ruling over them. Not only these Edomites, who I'm talking about, but also these other heathens, man. You know, that have partaken in the subject at B, right, which is, you know, human trafficking, children trafficking, child abduction, and all these things, man. You know, this is what we're looking forward to, man. This is why we do what we do, man, so we could finally get out of here by the means of the Lord redeeming and saving us, man, and putting us in a safe place. That safe place being under his watch, man, with him ruling, you know, him being the King of Kings, right? And us walking accordingly after that, man. This is what we're looking forward to, man. The elect, at least, because, you know, nobody else is sighing and crying for none of these things happening. Nobody else is even comforting Jakes with these sayings, man, because that's truly is comforting, man, to know that one day you're not gonna have to worry about your child, man, you know, being taken from you, or just something just happening to them, man. You know, whether it's when they're born, and these fucking, you know, physicians of no value stick them up with all types of poison. You know, we don't have to worry about that no more, man. And that comes with the redeeming of the Lord, with the Lord saving us from this place, man. Okay? So I pray that this lesson was edifying. All right? Yet another reason we need salvation from Babylon and the rest of this planet, man. And in closing, I want to give all honors and praises to our power, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS. Salutations to you brothers in the highways and byways. Salutations also goes out to you brothers and few sisters that tune in to listen and learn always. To you all, I say shalom, man. And a Baba Bo. Kwam Yasharala.